Imagine a creature whose entire life cycle requires a fatal dose of anger. For this specific monster, hitting the absolute physical limit of mortal rage doesn't mean the end. It's actually the beginning of its true power. We're talking about Mankey, the classic Pig Monkey Pokémon introduced back in Generation 1. As a pure fighting type, it has a very specific set of biological traits. Right out of the gate, its combat stats paint a clear picture. Mankey is highly fragile, unable to take many hits, but it is incredibly fast. But beyond the raw numbers, its defining characteristic is a volatile, highly explosive personality. The Pokédex repeatedly notes how quickly it loses its temper. Mankey's identity is defined entirely by this unstoppable fury, rather than any disciplined martial arts skill. The designers baked this aggression directly into the name, combining the words mad, cranky, and monkey. For its biological inspiration, we look to real-world Japanese macaques. Their distinct red faces provide the primary visual template for Mankey, and for that signature pig-like snout, the anatomical reference points directly to the golden snub-nosed monkey. You can clearly see the exact upturned nose the artists adapted. The game's lore takes this territorial primate behavior to extreme lengths. In Pokemon Yellow and Diamond Pearl, the text explains that if a single Mankey gets angry, it triggers a mindless colony-wide rampage. The lore in Pokemon Moon pushes this even further. The creature's anger persists into its dreams, which causes it to wake up stressed out and immediately angry all over again. The creators took the standard territorial aggression you find in wild primates and amplified it into an inescapable biological cycle of stress. This hostility famously played out in the anime's 25th episode, where a wild Mankey stole Ash's hat and worked itself into such an escalating rage that it actually evolved on the spot. That famous temper is highly sought after by players taking on Nuzlocke survival challenges, a community mode where a fainted Pokemon is considered dead and must be permanently released. In the Kanto region games, catching a Mankey early on Route 22 acts as a saving grace against Brock, the rock-type gym leader who usually stonewalls players who chose Charmander as their starter. This chart shows exactly how Mankey pulls this off. Because the move Low Kick calculates damage based on the target's weight, Mankey's attack output against heavy rock types is massive, dwarfing standard early game moves like Scratch or Tackle. Its unhinged hostility is exactly what makes it a life-saving tool for players facing early game disadvantages. That hostility builds as it levels up, reaching its first evolutionary threshold at level 28 to become Primeape. At this stage, the constant fury dangerously heightens its blood circulation. Generation 9 introduced a highly specific twist to this evolutionary line. To push Primeape to its final form, the player must instruct it to use the Ghost-type move Rage Fist exactly 20 times. Hitting this exact threshold destroys Primeape's mortal body. The sheer physical force of its own fury kills it, causing it to evolve into the Ghost and Fighting type Annihilate. This design draws directly from the real-world Japanese folklore of the Onryo, vengeful spirits that are entirely unable to move on because of their unresolved grudges. Annihilate represents the darkest, most literal manifestation of raw, unchecked emotion transcending physical mortality. Before we go, let's cool down with some rapid-fire trivia. Back in Generation 1, Mankey's original special stat was an incredibly low 35. It also has access to the Vital Spirit ability, which literally prevents it from being put to sleep because of its hyperactive state. In modern competitive play, specifically in Little Cup tournaments for unevolved Pokemon, Mankey remains highly relevant when equipped with a choice Sparf to boost its speed even further. If you're hunting for its rare shiny variant, you'll be looking for a Mankey that trades its standard off-white fur for a distinctive mint green color. And ironically, despite its pure hostility and constant stress, it possessed a totally normal base friendship level of 70 in the early games. From a volatile Kanto Pokédex to a Paldean vengeful spirit, Mankey's journey proves that anger can literally become a superpower. Let us know down in the comments which fighting-type Pokemon we should cover next.